So this video, we're going to talk about how the indigenous people got fooled and tricked to believing a doctrine that has nothing to do with them, right? And this book is, I guess, the Bible. Everybody calls it. I'll call it the book now, so there won't be no controversy. So, right, this book was brought in by Europeans to the indigenous people, to the natives. From where? From the distant land, unknown to anybody else. In the far distant land, there were people. But these people didn't know there was other people on the other side of the oceans with the Europeans. The European didn't know also there was people on the other side of the land. So who was the one that brought this doctrine all through the Indies and the Caribbeans? A well-known person, as you know, is Christopher Columbus. And Christopher Columbus came with his bandits, because that's what they were. They were all bandits. They were all criminals, rapers, murderers, doomed by the crown to live in a stone jail for the rest of their life. Since noble people didn't want to go, the only people that he had to go on the voyage with him were all these criminals. And so when these criminals got there to the land of paradise, Christopher Columbus came down on that ship with a Christian book telling the native that to kneel down to this book and take the faith of the Christians and kneel to the crown, which is Spain. And the natives that didn't believe, they were told that they would chop off their head and hang them upside down and burn them alive. And that's what they did. And some Indians didn't go for it because they didn't have to. They was living in peacefully in harmony, naked, running wild, with everything they needed. And there was no violence, no rape, no nothing, no disease, until the Caucasian European came and messed up their life with this book and doctrine, and with pesticides, pestilence, rodents, insects came off the boat with them. That's right. People that started all this pandemic with pesticides and rodents were the Europeans that brought it with them inside these wooden ships to a native land which was clean and healthy. You could walk barefooted and not get sick. It was unknown for natives to get sick. So that's how these people got indoctrinated to a book that has nothing to do with them, right? The Europeans been committing sins since day one, and they so believe in the book that this God is righteous. But how come this righteous God never struck them down, never sank their ships before they got to our lands? Why? Because the book is a myth. When are you going to understand that this book has nothing to do with you committing sin? There was sin way before that book was made, and there's always going to be sin. And they know that. That's why they can keep on committing sin. But they got you already mentally indoctrinated to that book that you can't get out. And this book only attracts the most vulnerable, right? The people that are poor, oppressed, in need of help, confused, and nothing to show for. These are the people that follow this doctrine. So that's why they saw into this book that they just can't get out of it. And this book is so confusing that they brainwash their mind that if you get out, you're going to get more confused and more punished. But that's not the case, because they've been doing it for years and they're not punished. They're still rich, still wealthy, and they're still doing the same thing. So I'm here to tell you that you're following a God that's never going to listen to you. You're going to be in bondage for the rest of your life and work till your back breaks because you're not going to get nothing out of it. No one is going to hear you. You got to get out of this oppression, out of this book. This book is just a myth, a story that happened. And this book was translated so many times that you don't know what's true and what's not. I was confused before. I read that book, and there's two sides of the books. The Hebrew wrote their books to benefit them, and the Christian wrote their book to benefit them, right? The Old Testament and the New Testament. That's all I got to say. Get off that book. Get yourself together. We all got problems. And look into it yourself and read it and try to understand it. If you don't, you got to ask questions. Don't believe this propaganda. The churches know. That's why the churches have changed. And it's all a big business. I was going to put a clip, but I'm going to do that to the next video so you could see that church doctrine is big business. But anyway, that's what I got to say. I want to know what you think and what you know, right? Knowing your knowledge, your experience, and wisdom. Those are all three different things. Wisdom, you get it on your own. You think carefully before you react, right? Education is because you read it and you got the understanding of the knowledge because you read it from another book. The only way you can know this is somebody read to you and you read it. That's knowledge. Now, experience, you lose time because you got to make mistakes and correct it. That's experience. You lose time with that. But with experience, you shouldn't make the same mistake twice. If you kneel down and you do all these prayers and you try to follow this book and nothing is happening, it's because it's never going to happen. And the European knows that. That's why they could be making atrocities to our indigenous people, our native people. So you need to get off this oppression and know that you got to get out of it yourself. No one is going to do it for you. And with that, I let you go. And is anybody out there knows why we still oppressed and we still following this book, you let me know.